second map of Nepal now. We're on to Nepal Shrine. And what can you say about these compositions here, Peronius? What do you expect from Deadlock to come out?
Well, I'm actually surprised we're... Oh, okay, no, I'm surprised we're not seeing the Tracer here in Deadlock. They often run Farah Tracer-based composition here, but it looks like Luffy's opting for the McCree instead. And so far, it looks like they are getting the early point pressure with those kills coming through, so it's definitely paying off.
Yeah, Tronic actually taking a nice angle there on the Farah, managed to get a few rockets down. Monkey D. Luffy taking out Exterminator, now they have the huge man advantage here. Tarzan's is flashed, not taken down, manages to escape, but this fight is pretty much over.
Oh,
they will be backing away.
Slade though. I was just going to get the res out of Inter. Something I have noticed is that Bliss is getting away with a lot of reses that just aren't getting punished as much as they need to be, and it has been the turning point in a couple of these fights. So hopefully we can see Deadlock paying more care towards that Mercy, and yeah, more able to punish that to not let her get away with some reses in and amongst the action.
You are wrecked actually going onto the Hanzo, and now they're going to be pulling, well, circling around the left-hand side here. Onto the point now, and Exterminator with the fire strike kill onto Monkey D. Luffy to open things up. That could be quite bad here for Deadlock. Another DBS is down, and now
Sonic does have a barrage, and there he goes, but immediately snuffed out with it. So that was the play that was needed to try and equalize this fight. And unfortunately, Letter9 reacted to it very quickly and shut that down, so this should be their point very shortly.
Ryan is trying to delay as best he can. He's still circling around that pillar, but he's accumulating a bit of percentage here, so that could be valuable when it comes to the final fights. But still managing, he finally gets taken down by Big Wog Boy. Still 57%, not 58% rather, not too shabby.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan buying another 8 to 10 seconds there, just on his own. Which very impressive work, especially with the McCree potentially threatening with a flashbang there, but gets away with it for quite some time. That said, we do have a lot of ultimates online for Letter9, so we can expect them to be able to hold this for a while. We can imagine an Earth Shadow or defensive Graviton will be committed fairly soon, just to stymie the next push coming out of Deadlock.
Possibly one of those Graviton Surge and Dragon Strike combos. The Graviton is caught, thrown out, manages to catch two people. The Deadeye comes down, manages to take down into them. But meanwhile, W Slade and Oceans have been taken down as well, or have been getting kills rather. And Bliss does manage to res up Lux. Deadeye will come out, takes down Lux again, and Deadlock managing to, despite getting caught by the Graviton Surge, managing to turn the fight around and actually retake the point.
Yeah, well, Slade pushed through very aggressively, perhaps expecting the enemy tank ultimates coming out of Letter9 there, and actually got the big shatter down onto the enemy backline. And I think that's why the Dragon Strike didn't come through, was that I believe Hanzo was actually one of the ones stuck taking a dirt nap while the Graviton was there. Big Wug Boy happened to be in a flank position ready to at least commit the Deadeye into there. And looks like we are coming in for the next push, but there's Deadlock's Graviton.
Yeah, Graviton Surge down, Earth Shadow also committed. Barad will come out in the backline, manages to take out Tarzan. You got wrecked, quickly answers back with a kill as well. The Earth Shadow will come out from Slade there as well. But they do manage to convert that into kills, actually 3 for Slade. Monkey D. Luffy taking out Big Wok Boy as well. And now it's a bit of delay coming out from Letter9 as they're trying to accumulate as much, well, rather the desperation trying to flip the point, but overtime will be ticking down, and Deadlock taking out our second round here on Nepal.
Absolutely, and yeah, we've definitely seen as much as Slade's Earth Shadow gets completely blocked out, it still doesn't change the course of the fight, because push comes to shove, Slade's got his supports in and around him, whereas the supports for Letter9 are being zoned out, pushed back, and thus, as a result, just Exterminator's Reinhardt just doesn't have the same support around him that we do have available for Slade, and so he's able to just swing through with the hammer and cut down the remaining members of Letter9 there on the point.
Yeah, great play coming out there from Slade and the supports of Deadlock. And 1-1 is the score, evening things up, and we'll see whether which team will come out on top here in our first map. The third map will of course be Nepal Control Center.
Nepal Sanctum.
Nepal Sanctum. Apologies.
Not a problem.
I always get those two mixed up.
They are very similar maps. But yeah, we'll be definitely seeing a lot of Roadhog and Orisa from both sides here. It is definitely the map that Orisa has played on more than anywhere else. And a lot of early poke just trying to get these environmental kills. That said, Luffy does get an early pick on the Big Wog Boy. Should be rezzed. And there it is, Bliss getting through there. But in that time, Lux has gone down as well. So Deadlock definitely have the early advantage here, even as Letter9 push onto the point.
Yeah, Tronic with a nice answering kill there, and well, looks like Monkey D. Luffy trying to get the angle there onto Big Wog Boy again, but he does manage to take down Slade. Meanwhile, you got Rex has been taken down as well, and huge man advantage here for Deadlock. There'd be a little bit of cleanup. Actually, they're giving up a bit of percentage because Letter9 managed to cap the point, but Exterminator will be booped off the map, and now there will be a flip. 17% is the score.
Yeah, so a very nice work from Letter9 to, despite their land advantage, bully their way onto the points and actually get the early cap. They're like a little too slow to respond there, and as a result, they give up 17 seconds worth of progress for a fight that they'd already won.
Coming out now from Tronic, doesn't manage to get anything. He does take out Yugo Rek there in the backline. They'll have to wait till he respawns or commit a res onto him. But looks like, yes, it will be rezzed, and now they're going to be holding aggressively here on into this choke and trying to deny any kind of purchase on the point from Letter9. They will be circling around the other side though and trying to take up the high ground. As incredible holds coming out, but no follow-up from the hook. And Oceans will be hooking Tarzans onto the point. The supercharger will be coming down, and the sound barrier as well committed there by Deadlock. They're committing a lot of ults here, but Tronic is getting the kills meanwhile. And Monkey D. Luffy with a headshot onto Big Wog Boy as well. But now the supercharger is down for Letter9. They're trying to answer things back. Hinterland, one of the only people left on the point. Slade is finally taken down, and the flip will come through.
Yeah, and a slightly late kill on the Luffy, but not too late, all things considered, as we see Letter9 resume their progress on the point here. And I think the biggest thing in that fight was just they were able to get in close. You got wrecked, getting in very close with the Junkrat, getting the damage boost from the supercharger, and just laying down some incredible damage. And now we can expect to see a Dragon Strike right now, in fact.
Dragon Strike comes out, double kill coming out from Big Wog Boy. Lux also contributing there with a kill on Slade, and they're going to be holding even more aggressively than Deadlock, almost chasing them all the way to spawn. They're going to have to wait again and reset.
Big Wog Boy just barely gets away from being punished for being that far out.
Yeah, good work from him to get back behind the shield, and now looks like Deadlock will be trying to make their way back onto the point. They're going to be taking that right-hand side flank through the door, try and circumvent the spawn camp coming out from Letter9 here. And now the hook will come out, but there's no kills coming from that. The Riptide will be committed by Tronic, but it's taken down. Sorry, committed by Yugo Rex, it's taken down by Tronic. And Exterminator getting the kill there onto Oceans. Monkey D. Luffy with a late headshot onto Tarzans, but this fight is pretty much over. Once again, they're going to have to reset, and the Riptide denied again by Exterminator.
And we're down to one fight territory now. I mean, Deadlock are only going to have one fight at this. They're not even going to have a proper team fight, as they had some very late staggers in there. So they're in a very bad spot, and I don't know if they're even going to be able to make it onto the point here. Looks like Hinterland committing the Valkyrie just to get that touch. But that charge kill at the start of the fight from Slade may be the opening they need to be able to spin this one back.
And Luffy actually taking out Tarzans as well, so now they have an advantage. Lux does pop that Transcendence, but meanwhile, Tronic and Ryan also getting kills of their own. The Riptide is out. It doesn't really have any targets. He's going to be going all the way to spawn, but you got wrecked. Will be taking it out before he gets any kills. But the flip does come through from Deadlock, and not too late too, as they managed to flip it on 99%.
So Letter9 is going to have one or two fights here at most to cap that point. The longer they take to set up here, the less likely it is they'll get that second fight. So this is effectively last fight territory here. And they do have a Dragon Strike to create a lot of space as they push in though, and then they've got the Supercharger on the point. So they definitely got the tools they need to win this one out. However, a big Pulse Bomb from Lucy can absolutely stymie this push as it comes through.
So Dragon Strike is popped out to start with, does get a kill to Ryan. That's a huge opening kill there from Big Wog Boy. All eyes. Oh, he gets another one onto Slade, and Lux will take down Hinterland as well. Luffy not managing to get, he does get the kill onto Tarzans, but it's a little bit too late, as he's one of the last ones left alive on the point, and a flip will come through overtime, quickly ticking down. Ryan does manage to get back on for a last minute contest, but he's taken down, and that's going to be that. Looks like they actually hook the Reinhardt back in and trigger overtime again, but it's eventually going to tick down, and Letter 9 will be taking out our first map.
Very nicely played there by Letter 9. They came in and once again, they committed those dragons to give them space to push through, and the dragons not only give them the space they need to push in, but manage to catch Ryan as well, and that gives them an overwhelming advantage in that upcoming fight. Combine that with the damage boost from the supercharger as they push in, and it puts Deadlock in a very nasty spot. And the responses from them just a little too late to overcome that, and so we will see Letter 9 taking this first map.
Brilliant play coming out from both teams. It was a very even contest on our first map, but yeah, it looks we will be moving on soon to. Do you remember which map is next, Veronius? I'm absolutely useless.
I believe we will be going to Numbani next, unless I'm
yes,
mistaken.
yep. That's right, and Numbani. Well, is that a particularly good map for Deadlock? Is that a map you guys have been preparing anything special in terms of strategies for, or?
Well, the funny thing about Numbani is that it is such an unusual map. It's sort of a bit of an outlier because that point A has a number of things that just make it really unique. And probably the biggest one of those is just the fact that the defender respawn is actually closer than the attacker spawn on the first point of a hybrid map. It's the only map that has that, which makes it a bit of a nightmare to try and take. Combine that with the various high ground around there, and there's just so many different ways to play that point. So it's really hard to say whether or not what we're running is sort of a more standard comp for the map or not, because what is a standard comp for it?
Yeah, there's so many different ways to attack and defend, and we often see a lot of full holds as well coming out on them because of what you just mentioned. So yeah, we'll have to see, I guess, what Letter 9 have planned and whether Deadlock can counter that effectively. But
yeah, absolutely. In regards to what Deadlock actually run here, it is actually fairly standard for Numbani. Yeah, there are definitely some more innovative strategies from Deadlock and some things that are a bit less common, but for Numbani it is very close to what we're used to seeing on this map. Even if some of the choices are a little unusual for other maps on the whole, they're definitely Numbani standards.
Alright, so hopefully, as we get the subs kind of sorted out here, we will eventually be going on to Numbani, of course.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what we see out of Letter 9 here, and what sort of heroes they favour on this map. Because
yeah, I mean, one thing that does come to mind is often teams do run that double sniper or they run dive, so two completely different compositions on opposite ends of the spectrum almost, so we could see anything come out from them. They have been favoring that tracer play from Big Wog Boy, so we could easily see that come out with a dive comp. But
just to the same effect, we saw Big Wog Boy on the Hanzo in Sanctum before, so he's definitely no stranger to those long range poke heroes either. So definitely a very versatile hero pool there, being able to move between Tracer and Hanzo. Definitely not something that's normally overlapped when it comes to DPS hero pools.
Yeah, usually you see the Tracer player play Widow, and the Hanzo player play all the other projectile.
Play your other projectile heroes like your Genjis and your Pharahs and your Junkrats and the like. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. Yeah, just what they show us and just how deep these hero pools go.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. I'm not sure who will be defending or whether that's actually have been decided yet. It looks like Hugo Rect is changing his mouse, and now he's ready, so should be going on to Nubati very, very shortly.
I believe Deadlock will be defending Burst just based on the teams in the lobby and how it's set up, unless I'm mistaken. I believe Red defends first. The exact opposite. Red attacks. Aha.
Yeah, got you yet. Haha. Yeah, at least we haven't had a change of colors. That always gets me halfway through a match when we change the colors. But
yeah, no, certainly the spectator client could use some work for broadcasts, but I believe they are gradually rolling that out. Contenders obviously going over to home and away skins very recently, so perhaps we'll see that rolled out more and more for us smaller esports tournaments.
Yeah, one can only hope. But actually, the Contenders one is... I didn't realize how much of a difference it would make until they actually rolled it out. So definitely easier to spectate with those different skins, the green and the white.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just having consistency in the colours of a team is just does wonders for the spectator experience.
And the red always looks terrible on stream as well, so that's another thing. So, well, let's talk about some of these compositions. Looks maybe the defensive one is pretty much locked in. Big Wog Boy is going to be on that Widowmaker, so it's showing us yet another pick, another versatile hero choice from him. And Tarzan's going to be on that Winston, so there's a bit of a dive tanks coming through. You got wrecked on that Junkrat as well. And Lux on that Ana. Tell me about that one, Peronius.
Well, Ana is a very common pick on Numbani first because of all the high ground. She can generally get a lot of value with that long-range healing and, of course, the long-range disruptions in the form of the grenades and sleep darts, while being a difficult target just due to the sheer distance she can sit back to dive on, which is usually the biggest weakness of the Ana. So it's definitely not uncommon to see her here on the bar.
Well, looks like Deadlock is going to be running the Pharah and the Tracer. So completely different to anything that we were predicting before the match started, but the dive will come through from Slade and Oceans. Doesn't manage to convert it to a kill. Tronic, though, does manage to get that rocket onto Big Wog Boy, and he gets another one onto Tarzan's. Tronic hopping off here, and he's chasing Lux. He's taking him down, and meanwhile, Monkey D. Luffy also taking him down. Bliss, very quick and decisive Team 5 victory coming out from Deadlock.
Yeah, and that's what we'd like to see. It looks like they are just going to be... Oh, Ryan does go down late from You Got Wrecked, but even with that, he will be respawning in the new spawn, so it's not really going to cost them much as Deadlock begin to move forwards into the streets phase. So yeah, just a very clean execution there. And Big Wog Boy, a lot of pressure on him to manage to deal with that Pharah, and making sure that that Widow is his first target. Tronic also moving in with the cover of the tanks just gives him a huge amount of room as Deadlock push forwards in the streets here.
Well, the dive came through onto Big Wog Boy, but did manage to get away. Monkey D. Luffy is just being a thorn in the side of Letter 9 right now, harassing You Got Wrecked and Big Wog Boy. As You Got Wrecked will be pulling out that Riptide. Can he manage to get any kills with it? Monkey D. Luffy walking into a trap, but Mothop actually taking down the Riptide before it managed to get any kills. Great play coming out from him. And the cart is still moving here, as Oceans is somewhere in the back line. The dive will come through from Slade, and Tronic will follow up onto Tarzan's here. So kills going all the way of Deadlock. Tronic popping that barrage in the back line as well, getting a triple kill, getting another parting rocket onto Big Wog Boy. Big plays coming out from the Pharah.
Absolutely, and I'd also like to highlight Oceans there with the defense matrix, because as Tronic pulls out the barrage there, Big Wog Boy goes for the Widow shot onto him, but Tronic is completely enveloped in the protective defensive matrix, and that shot unable to connect to end that barrage.
Tronic is proving to be a real handful here for Letter 9. Just completely uncontested, it seems like, in the air. You got Rex to switch over onto the Soldier to try and put some pressure onto him. As the dive will come through from Slade, he'll back away. The Diva Bomb will come through and take out Lux. The shield was turned from Exterminator, and Monkey D. Luffy with a perfectly timed pulse bomb to take him out as well. And Deadlock don't look like they'll be stopped anytime soon, and Slade will be taking out Tarzan as well late.
So we have a blistering 5 minutes on the clock here as we're moving into potentially the last fight for this attack from Deadlock.
Yeah, and You Got Wrecked taken down late as well. Exterminator, they're going to be coming onto the point to try and contest. The Earth Shadow will come down. It doesn't manage to get anything as a perfectly timed Transcendence comes out from Mothop to keep everyone alive. And Oceans and Tronic still raining down the rockets. The Graviton Surge will come out, but Oceans the only one caught in the defense matrix will negate all of the damage. And Tronic's still just raining down rockets. You Got Wrecked taken down low. The barrage will come out, takes down Tarzan, takes down Lux. Another rocket onto Big Wog Boy for good measure. And the cart will be rolling well into sea. A blistering time has been posted here by Deadlock.
It's just very, very nice round for them, and Letter 9 really struggling to deal with Tronic's Pharah. On the flip side, Tronic getting a lot of support from his team, Hinterland providing both the Mercy Pocket, and Oceans providing that defensive matrix in order to help keep him in the air against those big threats. And just Letter 9, I don't think quite knew how to deal with it. Obviously, on that, as we were coming into that last fight, we do see a flank coming through from You Get Wrecked on the Soldier, moving around to presumably trying to build the last 20% he needed for a visor and go for the big flank visor play, but unfortunately he does get sniffed out and shut down very quickly by Oceans yet again, and that just puts Letter 9 in a very dangerous position coming into that last fight. And yeah, the fight just drags on until Tronic gets his barrage up, and then that's the end of that, as yet another cleanup barrage just secures that final cap for Deadlock.
Definitely impressive play coming out from a lot of the members of Deadlock here, all of the members I would say. As well, they will be setting up here on the defense. Monkey D. Luffy going to be popping over onto that Widowmaker, which you showed on the previous map. Tronic once again on the Pharah, so standard composition pretty much coming out from Deadlock here. And for the attacker side, they may be running this Genji Pharah, so something a little bit different, a bit of a variation here on the standard dive comp. And Lux on the Zenyatta and Bliss on the Mercy as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes, because Deadlock have actually been favouring an Ana defense on this first point for some time as well, but it looks like they are going for the Mercy Zenyatta here, presumably because it was working so well for them on the attack. So we'll see if, we'll see if we have Letter 9 has as much luck on their attack as Deadlock did, or if we see this one drag out a bit longer.
Oh, Monkey D. Luffy, the opening kill on You Got Wrecked. He floated a little bit too long up in the air and punished for it. The res will come through onto him. Looks like Letter 9 will be taking that low ground approach around the left side. Dive comes through onto Oceans here, but he will just run away and negate most of that damage as well, as Tronic is just pounding those rockets through. The dive comes through from Slade onto the tank line there, but Ocean's getting the kill onto Tarzan. Tronic following up into the Mercy, and perfectly coordinated there by Deadlock, managing to follow through into multiple kills. And You Got Wrecked. Looks like he will probably have to reset. Oh, he does manage to get away. Oh no!
Nope.
Tronic will be putting him out of his misery.
Yeah, it's a very nice parting shot there from Tronic, just as it looked like he was going to get away.
Hunter is the switch here from Big Wog Boy, and You Got Wrecked has switched onto the Genji, so a bit of a change up of the roles. Here is Monkey D. Luffy. He's quite aggressive here on this Widowmaker, but he does manage to make a work. There's no opposing Widowmaker for the side of Letter 9. And Tarzan's Exterminator will be diving through onto that high ground. But Monkey D. Luffy with a brilliant shot onto that Mercy, another one onto Tarzan's there. And Slade will be cleaning up in the back line. That Hanzo still alive, not able to do much as the rest of the team collapses onto him, trying to getting that final blow.
And that late DMech onto Exterminator is just going to hurt a lot as well. There is a ledge over there to jump off that he can use to remech, because the alternative is going back to spawn and losing all that ult percentage. But it looks like he's doing neither and just looking to push forwards and build up a new mech in the next fight. So that's going to expose them to a lot of risk there, but let's see if it pays off.
Yeah, dive will be... Looks like Oceans has found You Got Wrecked, kind of trying to take a flank here, and does chase him away. So well done by him, and they're going to be moving through onto that high ground through the corridors here. Tronic, I can just see that happening from a mile away. The branches pop and taken down. Exterminator, Monkey D. Luffy getting the best of that Hanzo as well, and once again clinical defense coming through from Deadlock.
Well, that was something of a free fight for them, between the D.Va not being back in mech and Tarzan actually going over onto the Zarya. They did not have the tools they needed to be able to deal with that barrage, short of Genji being in position to deflect that, or Hanzo being in position to get a quick headshot on it. Unfortunately, neither of those things happened, so we do see some more changes though. You Got Wrecked moving over onto the Winston, so it looks like they are going for a triple tank comp. 2 dive tanks and a Zarya to probably help reinforce that dive. It's definitely not a standard composition we see a lot of though.
Yeah, the thing is though, Talos is not going to be able to build up a Graviton Surge anytime soon. Transcendence is popped here by Lux to open up the fight, but Oceans has popped that Diva Bomb, taking out Big One Boy in the backline, and Slade has already taken out that Mercy as well, so there's no res available. The healing has been cut in half, if not more. Tronic is just raining down those rockets once again. Exterminator taken out very, very cheaply, and we're running out of time. We're into last fight territory.
Yeah, they're only going to have one more push here, and it's going to have to be a hurried one. And I don't think, and I could be wrong here, but I don't believe Letter 9 have actually inflicted any kills on this attack so far. So it's definitely not a great position, but they do have ultimates online, whereas Deadlock, they're coming up on a barrage very soon, and they might be able to get Valk mid-fight, but they don't have a lot of tools left for this one.
More hero changes coming through from Letter 9s. They desperately try and find an answer here to this defense from Deadlock. Exterminator is D-Max early on, Tronic in the backline once again. The triple kill though, coming out from the Diva Bomb, just completely unawares on the payload. And that was an incredible play coming out from Exterminator, almost a gift to Letter 9, as they do manage to eventually cap the point in overtime.
Yeah, very nicely played from Letter 9, because that Diva Bomb actually had a Winston bubble over it very early, but the team of Letter 9 able to burst that bubble down very quickly, and thus leave it just exposed, and a lot of people out of position and unable to deal with it. That said, they still are very much coming from behind with their time bank here. They'll need to make good progress all the way through, as we do see an aggressive move from You Got Wrecked on the Winston.
You have to back away here as he gets chunked down very, very quickly. The rest of Big One Boy's teammates, sorry, Monkey D. Luffy's teammates, were there to defend him.
Yeah, he did get very close to taking out Luffy with that primal play, but the Widow are able to hook away just in time to save himself.
Yeah, well, Valkyrie is available now for Ryan, so that could be the ultimate that they need to open up this fight here and take control of the payload once again. As Big One Boy does manage to stun up Slade here, and Oceans though managing to follow up onto the kill while he was kind of distracted. And Tronic taking out Bliss, that's the Mercy gone, and they're going to be collapsing onto the remaining members. The Transcendence popped here by Mob Pop. And, well, Slade is taken down very late as he was very, very deep in the enemy backline, but they still have a man disadvantage. They'll still have to wait for the respawns to come through if they want to get this cart moving.
Absolutely, and the cart position is about even for both teams. I think it might be slightly closer to the defender spawn, but it's certainly not the most forgiving of cart positions on this second point of Numbani. We will see Slade moving over to the Reinhardt here. Definitely in preparation for a final point hold, as it can be very hard to stop the cart here.
Well, Tronic popping that back barrage in the backline, but the sound area is perfectly timed, trying to get all that damage. Terminator also with that defense matrix is Monkey D. Luffy taking out the Big One Boy. The Diva Bubble will come out, take out Bliss, and once again he's caught out. And now this should be simple cleanup here for the side of Deadlock. The Mercy is down. Monkey D. Luffy completely uncontested, firing away onto the remaining tanks. Terminator actually takes down Slade, and Tarzan's also D-makes Oceans, but should be a little bit too too late. The Diva Bomb is somehow gets
Ryan. Get Ryan, but I don't know if it'll be enough just because of how staggered out Letter 9 are.
Well, the barrage will be popped here by Tronic to try and keep everyone off the cart, and it is successful. And looks like Deadlock taking out our second map, so I think we're tied up here 1-1 after 2 maps.
So yes, Deadlock definitely showing a lot of dominance there. As mentioned, it wasn't until that last fight from Letter 9 that they really made any progress on the defense. And as you can see, there it is. So the bomb begins inside that Orisa shield, but unfortunately it was an existing Orisa shield, so it doesn't last much longer. And I think just that initial thought of, oh, it's in the shield, it's safe, followed by the shield not being there, means that Deadlock are caught with less time than they would have liked to get to cover.
Yeah, well, ended up not being a huge factor, as Deadlock did manage to stop the cart and take out the map. But yeah, well, great play coming out from both teams again, and we'll be moving on to our third map here, which will be
Volskaya Industries.
Volskaya Industries, that's right. So, once again, what do we expect here? What do you expect here, Peronius? coming out. Assault, obviously a very different kind of game mode, so...
Yeah, I think as long as Luffy continues to play how he has been, his Widowmaker is going to be instrumental in securing a Volskaya victory here. Likewise, if Letter 9 are able to stabilize and rebuild that confidence a bit more, and are able to equalize or even take dominance in those sort of long-range duels, we could definitely see them taking advantage here. Because this first point, because it's such a long open space, it very much puts a lot of pressure onto those long-range characters, the Hanzos and Widows predominantly, in order to keep control of that point and ensure that, that it's just either the defenders are picked off before the attack pushes through, or that the attackers are never able to get an attack going because they're losing people as they get picked off. Yeah,
and assault maps get so snowbally, so it's all up to the defenders to really either shut the attackers down completely, or they're in for a bit of a hard time, because it's very possible the attackers, if they get a bit lucky, they're able to get a quick double capture here on Volskaya. So, well, looks like we'll have another pause if someone's needs to make a bit of a rest stop.
Absolutely, and so we will be, it looks like we will be seeing once again Letter 9 on that initial defense. At this stage, hard to tell exactly what they're going to be going for. I know a lot of teams prefer to hold a very far back defense on Volskaya, very different to what you see in the ranked games, simply because of taking advantage of all that space.
And there's so many high grounds you can use to create different angles. It's almost a shame to hold at the choke, because you're giving your opponent only one angle really that they know they have to go down this route to get you to.
It's fascinating that despite so many other maps eventually conforming to the general pro meta in terms of defensive positions, Volskaya has continued to buck the trend in the lower ranks in matchmaking and stubbornly insist on holding that front choke.
Yeah, like sometimes it feels really good to get that spam, especially if you're running a Junkrat, for example, getting that spam damage through, killing the enemies, the attackers just as they leave the spawn. But ultimately it's much more efficient, I would say, to hold on these high grounds. You have so much space and create different angles. You can respond to what the enemy does and how they position, how they decide to attack the point. So it's
Absolutely, and it's not like you can't run a Junkrat on this map from a high ground based defense. I mean,
if anything, it would be better, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely places you can position to actually get damage through that initial choke as well. It's just a matter of lobbing your grenades a bit further than directly in front of you. But it looks like we will be seeing, as they come out of spawn here, looks like Big Wog Boy is going to be running the Hanzo, and we're going to have You Got Wrecked on the Soldier. So that is definitely looking like a comp that wants to sit back, take advantage of the mid-range and long-range heroes there. We do have Tarzan on the Orisa, which presumably means they're going to be setting up a hard bunker point on that high ground, just above the Mega Health Pack room. But we'll see where they go, because they are actually moving quite far forward with this.
Yeah, well,
maybe we will see them set up in the choke.
Yeah, the choke defense may be alive and well here on Volskaya still. But it's going to be hard for a Big Wog Boy to potentially get the optimal angles here. But we'll see whether they're able to make use of those Orisa halts, especially in those confined quarters. And Luck's going to be on that. Oh no, he's going to be positioned here on this high ground bridge. So decent angle for him.
Yeah, definitely a good spot to put your anchor if you intend on holding the choke there.
We'll be moving on, and Monkey D. Luffy on that Widowmaker. See whether he can get an early pick here. He fires into the Orisa shield. Unfortunately, he doesn't have much room to play with either.
That's it, Tronic just moving straight over the top there and getting an early punish.
Oh, that's a brilliant 1-2 play coming out from Deadlock here. Tronic with the kill onto the Hanzo. Monkey D. Luffy immediately grappling back up and getting that Mercy one shot. And now the rest of the members of Deadlock going to be diving straight onto the remaining members here. Slade is kind of cut off a little bit from his healing. The Hunter Grenade will come down as good and manages to heal most of the tanks up. But Monkey D. Luffy, meanwhile, has taken out You Got Wrecked. And now there's very little DPS coming out from the side of Letter 9. The respawns are coming through. But Big Wog Boy does take out Luffy. And he gets a double kill, actually. He gets another shot onto Mop Hop, but too many members of Deadlock still alive, and the point will be ticking up. It looks like Letter 9 will be giving this up.
Absolutely, and a very nicely played by the remaining letters of Letter 9, who managed to stall that one out for quite some time, considering they lose both their DPS very early in the fight. So very good effort on them for buying as much time as they did, but unfortunately just being unable to get enough done to stop Deadlock from taking that one.
Blade and Oceans immediately diving onto that high ground to deny it from the snipers here for Letter 9. And they're going to be holding very far forward once again. The Orisa shield is positioned right at the opening choke. And that will come through once again. Exterminator trying to push the tanks off the high ground. Doesn't manage to do so, but You Got Wrecked does demech Oceans here, but Luffy can take a completely different angle, a brilliant angle, manages to take out Bliss with the headshot. Still no real intent coming out from Deadlock to try and take the point. Now there's dive through. Now there's Primal Rage pop by Slade, and he manages to take out Big Old Boy and the Ana here. You Got Wrecked.
Huge.
Desperately
coming out from Slade.
There's 3 kills coming out from Slade, and You Got Wrecked desperately popped that visor. Doesn't manage to get a kill. Exterminator will be demeched here. Lux taken down. Tronic just going off here on the cleanup, and got one tick. Tarzan is now back. The Supercharger will be put down. You Got Wrecked though on the Doomfist. It does manage to take out Tronic. So 1 kill now in favor of the defenders, but Monkey D. Luffy is completely uncontested on his Widowmaker. There's no one able to really force him off that high ground. He's just firing shot after shot into those tanks. Exterminator going quite low. And Tronic does take out Lux as well, so the healers are completely non-existent for Letter 9.
Oh, good charge there from Tarzan.
Charge will come through. Tronic taking down Big One Boy once again. They're desperately trying to get members on the point. And the Diva Bomb will be coming through. Does get that kill under Exterminator. Tronic getting a triple kill there at the end. Lux desperately trying to stay alive. The res will come through onto Mopop. It looks like this will be the second tick. Can they make it a third? Big One Boy does manage to trigger that overtime once again, rather contest again. As Bliss and Exterminator still on the point. The trickles are coming through. They're very good for Letter 9, keeping that point contested, but
it's just a matter of cleanup here, and Mopop's Transcendence is going to deny them any opportunity to get this one going. Big Old Boy getting taken out, You Got Wrecked getting taken out between the blinks. We'll see Bliss and Exterminator getting onto the point here, but it's only a matter of time until Exterminator is demech once again. And no, Exterminator actually flies too high into the sky, and the point ticks over.
Great play coming out there from Deadlock to get the double capture. And they did it with some time remaining as well, 4 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock, so it'll be all up to Letter 9 to try and match or better that effort here on their own attack phase.
Absolutely, and I just want to take us back to the very beginning of that fight, as it was quite a long one, but Slade jumping in on top of Lux on the Ana, and just deleting her very quickly, and then following up with a Primal Rage to knock, I believe it was You Got Wrecked on the Hanzo?
Yeah, that's right.
Just knocked him into a corner, takes down 2 with the Primal Rage very quickly, creating a lot of room for Deadlock to push in, and then manages to get down, threatening to try and push off the reinforcements coming through on that Orisa as well, and actually manages to get the Tactical Visor caught up in that very end of that Primal Rage as well and knock him off. So a huge Primal play coming out from Slade there. And just based on the Enviro kill at the end, I wouldn't be too surprised if it ends up being play of the game.
Well, I certainly hope so. I want to have another look at that one, but yeah, huge plays coming out from Slade there on his Winston pick. And on the defense, it looks like they're going to be running a very similar defensive setup here. Tronic, though, going to be on that Junkrat, and they're going to be holding up here on the high ground, it looks like. So they've listened to you, Pronius. You've taught them well.
Yes, even before I came on as a coach, they were running a team composition and strategy for this defense that involved holding back, so I can't take all of the credit for this one, but no, it is definitely a very dangerous defense here, and we'll see them make use of the space as Slade is just down on there to contest the point and buy time for the DPS of Deadlock to get the crucial frags.
Okay, this is interesting. They're going to be running this Symmetra here and the Bastion, so they're going to use the teleporter to go around the left-hand side, take the high ground, and set up the Bastion on an angle that's a bit unexpected. So, see whether this works out here for letter 9. I myself have tried this with our team, and not very successfully, so see whether they're able to pull it off. It looks like Deadlock have their number though, as they're set up perfectly to try and defend this. Oceans though, a bit caught out of position after the Orisa hold, and Big Wog Boy will be taking down Monkey D. Luffy. So early on, it's working wonders for letter 9 here. Big Wog Boy taking out Oceans as well as he was DMAxed. And now they have a bit of a man advantage. The rest of Deadlock trying to get back onto the points to contest. They're waiting for the respawns to come through. Tronic does take out Yugo Rect here. The rest will come through onto him. And Tarzan is not able to get the kills. Mop taking out Bliss. So that Symmetra not being much of a help here in the fight. And Monkey D. Luffy taking out Big Wog Boy. He gets a double kill for his efforts. And looks like
Deadlock will manage to clean this one up here. So that early kill onto Oceans, or rather the early DMAC, is absolutely disastrous for when it comes to dealing with a Bastion. However, Deadlock play it very smart when they take the early losses, but they peel back. Slade plays very defensively and goes in at the last minute when they need to contest to buy time. At the same time, Tronic executes an attack onto the Bastion, manages to take him out. And even though he trades his life for it, the res does come through. But more importantly, that Bastion is not able to fire down onto the point anymore, and that leaves letter 9 with not a lot of DPS to deal with the remaining members.
They're seriously going to try this again, as now Deadlock have completely caught their number, and manages to trap that run out, and a triple kill. That's about as easy as you could get for Tronic there with the Riptire. And yeah, this is the kind of strategy that only really works once, if it works at all.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, shame on me. And Deadlock definitely in position to punish that one, and the Riptire does horrendous damage to those sorts of static Bastion-based compositions, if it can get through. That said, we do have the infra sights out from Big Wog Boy, so potentially providing a lot of pressure here from this high ground.
Yeah, dangerous of Mop to peek there, but he doesn't get punished for it. And ultimate wise, there is a lot of ultimates now available for Deadlock. They have that power raise, they have the double support as the Transcendence and the Valkyrie.
Well, that said, we will be seeing quite a lot of ultimates out of letter 9 here as well. We have tank mode online very shortly, they have their Shatter, and of course they have the Symmetra ult and Valkyrie available as well.
Yeah, that may be one of the reasons why we haven't seen a swap in composition yet from letter 9. They may want to make use of some of these ultimates, as the Symmetra ultimate will come through, and Lux just popped that Valkyrie as well. Valkyrie also out from Hinterland here, but Tronic gets the first kill onto Big Wog Boy, and that Symmetra ultimate is providing quite a lot of staying power here from letter 9. Big Wog Boy taking out Mop, but now the ultimate's gone. Monkey D. Luffy taking down Big Wog Boy, and Tronic will take down that Bastion, so now it looks like it's pretty much all cleanup. There's not much time left, they're probably not going to get another fight here.
That may be a chance to swing this around.
Yeah, Exterminator taking them through there in that Graviton Surge, but Slade and Tronic still alive. Can they manage to get those kills that are required? There's 2 ticks now accumulated by letter 9, and Tronic does. He gets the double kill. Trap will take out Tarzan. Bliss trying to get on with that Brigitte here. You got Wreck. Does take out Tronic though, so this could be a bit of an opening. You got Wreck desperately trying to do what he can, but he's chased down by Slade. Slade is back and alive, and Big Wog Boy will get rezzed up, not able to get onto the point, and Deadlock taking out the series 2-1.
Yeah, just very, very cleanly played there, and it looks like letter 9 definitely should have swapped off that Bastion earlier. They don't even end up using the configuration tank ultimate because they need to, by the time it's up. Unfortunately, the Bastion goes down very early in that fight due to being jumped on by most of the members of Deadlock. Oh, very nice flick there.
Incredible flick.
And as a result of that, they just don't get the value from the Bastion that they're needing to really make it work.
Yeah, well played there by Deadlock to close it out in the final 2 maps. And yeah, well played to letter 9. They've definitely put up quite a good fight. I think that'll be it from us. Peronius, thanks a lot for joining me and Yeah, saving the cast as it will.
Pleasure at all. Are you needing a co-caster for the other game coming up, or
No,
are
I
people
think
taking over?
we've got that sorted. I won't be casting the next game, but yeah, well, there will be another game on this stream, so stay tuned for that. And any final words, Peronius?
Not really. I'm very proud of Deadlock's performance here. It's good to see some of the things we've been working on coming through. I've seen a definite improvement from the squad in the last couple of weeks, so I'm hoping they continue to keep up the good work.
All right, yeah, and well, I think that'll be it from me as well. My name is Zero, and well, stay tuned for our next match, and we'll see you next week.
Sure.